All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of What's What BR. Today, I've got two special guests. You probably heard them. We have with us today, we have Dr. K. Solar and Betsy Barnes with Rocket Right Show
Yeah.
and Rocket Right Radio. Right, it's all over the place for anybody who doesn't know. Tell me, guys, how are you?
We're doing great.
Good to hear. It's for anybody who doesn't know, we're approaching Thanksgiving. We're getting close to timeline this thing. So if we talk about things, so you can know that's our frame of mind. We're in the just got rolled back a phase after a day removed from it. But so it gives everybody context going forward. So tell me, guys, how did this start? It came kind of like a bang out of nowhere, but just like every overnight success, it's never an overnight success, right? It's everybody thinks it's like, man, you just started up, and just you're everywhere. But no, it's been years in the making, right?
So. Yeah, I mean, we're in our 6th year of doing this show on radio, and we've just added television on Pelican Broadcasting since July. Was one of our additions while we were in the COVID-19 lockdown, and we can talk about that a little bit more. But we do have an interesting story on how we met.
We do. So Kay and I both separately had done radio, had done television in different roles and different things. And she had been on, I guess, about 9 or 11 years on WAFB doing medical reports. I had done some things on television and radio, encouraging people to become more politically informed and active. And so it just kind of worked out that when we met each other, we felt like we already knew each other. And then we decided that it would be a good idea to talk about, the amazing women, entrepreneurs, business owners, people in the community that don't look for any acclaim, but certainly do deserve it, that want to push causes that really matter forward. And then also, Kay has quite the background in music and entertainment and country music. And so she has put on a festival called the 3rd Street Songwriters Festival, the first songwriter festival in the state of Louisiana, along with promoting Louisiana musicians. And then with her background as a doctor, as an OBGYN, she also wanted to bring cutting edge medical technology and resources, wellness and health information forward. So between my interest when we started was political and then local lagniappe or extraordinarily generous people and highlighting those things. Kay brought the medical and the entertainment and we just clicked. And so we pitched that to Guarantee.
It was crazy,
And we did not realize we were the only 2 women in talk radio that were talking about some of the things that we did. And so we've been through several elections, we've been through several storms, or hurricanes, things like that. But for us, COVID really, where it hurt a lot of other businesses, for us, it grew our business. So we were on radio talking about the things that I just explained. And then now we've taken it beyond that. We talk more about tourism, amazing people and places and things to do, in addition to supporting Louisiana musicians and entertainers and the medical community. And we have been very happy with the amount of support that we have gotten, not just from the Baton Rouge community, but now through television and Pelican broadcasting. We reach 22 parishes. We go into Texas on KWLA 103.1 out of the Natchitoches area. And then we're pretty much state line to state line on television once a week. And our show broadcast 8 times, our radio show 3 times. And we love telling people stories.
And it's been really great, especially during this time, to be able to focus and highlight businesses in our community
that need the attention and cannot necessarily afford to then go spend money on marketing. But we search them out and we want to share the story behind the story, what makes them tick, what was their passion. And you said it best. Our whole business started because of a passion that we had for people in Louisiana. I mean, that's really it.
And I've always been really, people would ask me sometimes, even in my practice, they would go, this is kind of a stupid question. No, there are no stupid questions. If you don't answer them, if you don't ask it, then you don't know. And so I've always had a passion for empowering people by educating them on what they need to know about. And so this just took the medical part to, you need to know things in business. What do people need to know in business? What do people need to know in politics? What are, and what are some of the great things that they can do for fun?
Right.
And
what are women talking about? Because what we weren't hearing on radio, other than, somebody who's an anchor of a news program, they're scripted. It's scripted. They're not sharing their opinion, their personality or whatever. We are both pretty open and kind of out of the box, but we talk about things that women talk about, and it's not just hair and makeup. I mean, we don't really talk about hair and makeup. We really talk about, what are your tax dollars being spent on? What is a way that you can have better, left over what's left in your pocketbook? How can you get the best medical advice? Who is a young and upcoming talented performing or visual artist that you need to know about and can share? And it's good news. For the most part, I would say it's very good news.
That's it's, you guys are the pros. I'm just a guy sitting here, on a computer here. I just need to just shut it down, like close it up. We're done. You guys have got it. But no, that's what we found, through, the show here, is that we're all in South Louisiana. We like to tell stories, and we want connections, with people. And what I found is exactly what you're talking about. Is I even have it written on a business card. You don't know what you don't know. And when you go look, if you go look for, whether it be that one restaurant, what time are they open? You go search online, you don't find all the other stuff. And we fall into kind of creatures of habit. We do some of the same things. You don't know what's out there. And I've said this from the beginning of, March, when everything kind of initially did a shutdown. It was like, for my money, if you're going to get shut down, like, at least we're here. There's so many things to go and do. There is, the entertainment, the people. I can't imagine, sitting in New York City and being, on floor 34 of some apartment and just staring out of, one window and not being able to go do anything.
One thing in South Louisiana, we are not good being isolated. We need each other. We love the music. We love to dance. We love to connect with each other. And that's what's been the hardest. So people actually are receiving information, whether it's the way they order their food to be delivered, where they weren't ordering food to be delivered as much, or whether the way they connect with their clients, connect with others, and just get the support they need. People in Louisiana, we're just not good isolated. And so maybe other places do it better, but
there was a band playing in New Orleans, supposed to be, I think it was last night or tonight or something like that. And they ended up like getting shut down, like the restaurant. They ended up, because they didn't exactly follow the rules, but a friend of mine knew that I knew who it was. And they sent me a text. They were like, so-and-so, isn't going to be playing at such and such place. I know they're going to be playing somewhere else. Where are they going to go? They're not just going home. It was kind of like we crave that, and that's back to the if you don't know, and if you don't expose yourself to some of these things and get outside. I call it getting outside your bubble, or I tell people, get outside your own Facebook feed. You scroll through, you see the same stuff over and over. There's a lot more out there. And there's a lot of people that need help, like you said.
Right.
We try to do that here.
One of the things that I think that has really been of value that Kay brings, that other shows, no matter who the hosts are, don't typically have, is we all know somebody that's been touched by cancer. There is not a person we know that has not been touched by cancer. And Mary Bird Perkins, Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Center, has been a longtime sponsor. And about every other week, we have a specialist. It could be somebody who is a scientist. They could be a surgeon. They could be doing healing arts or whatever. We've been able to bring that information in a way that's a 10, 11-minute segment to share with people some of the resources that are right here, that when that happens to somebody they know, they have a resource. That has been, I think, one of the most valuable things.
It has, and just the connection with other phisians. I tell you, most physicians do not want to go on TV. They don't want to talk. That most doctors are very intimidated about that, and they just really, they can do that one-on-one with the patient. They don't want to be on the TV camera. And so just with that connection, I've convinced lots of physicians to come on to share their knowledge. And because we do it in such a way where it is like a conversation.
Yeah, like you're having coffee or a glass
with that
of wine,
person. And we do frequently serve them a glass of wine. Not all the physicians, but
they don't always partake. But we
other
offer.
Guests on our show, we try to make it fun because we want to, like, really reduce their anxiety if they've not been on TV before. So we usually give them either a sweet treat or a drink or something, and they feel right at home, and it's like them having a conversation with someone.
I talked, it's funny, two things on that. One, I found the physician, they don't necessarily want to come out and talk, but they're great with a headshot. Look, I'll send you a headshot, and I'll give you some talking point, I'll give you something. We found that. But I saw a video where a guy he was doing his little podcast and he's making a joke out of it. It was like the B-roll, and he was like, had been sipping on his coffee, and kind of blowing it in the B-roll. You see, he's like, I'm just blowing on this so you think it's coffee. It's really vodka, in here. So
we've been very
fortunate. But no, I think I had a situation where I ended up having to, I think it's important, especially on that medical side. You're talking about, I had a situation I needed to go see, a cardiologist. And I'll be just honest with you. I've never taken a doctor, from like, where's your credentials? Where did you go? What did you score? None of that ever made a difference. As a hobby, I fly airplanes, and a buddy of mine was like, oh, you need to go see this guy. He's the cardiologist. He also flies, airplane. I was like, sold. He could be the worst one in town, but that's my guy,
There is that personal connection. You want somebody that you can relate to, who you feel like is going to sit and talk to you about it, and you get, or like you said, nobody goes to a physician because of a billboard. No. But they go to a physician because some friend has referred them, or they might have seen them talk on a TV show and they feel like they can relate and they know them. I had so many people who saw me when I was doing my medical segment I probably was at every different station in Baton Rouge from the time I started here, like almost 30 years ago. But and I kind of moved with where some of my patients were working actually and invited me, and then it just kind of stuck. But the last was with Channel 9, but I would have so many people who would say, I listen to you every week. Well, it wasn't every week. It was only once a month, but they felt like it was every week. And they felt like they knew me, from just talking. And so I think that there's a lot there when you connect, or you have a friend that connects, and it's not intimidating.
Right.
Absolutely. It's the old, adage. I've talked to everybody wants to have, a guy, I got a pool guy, I got a yard guy, who do I call, who's the doctor, people lean and kind of go through that decision-making process. And I think that's exactly what you guys are doing, is what, we're doing. That's for not just for doctors, but for any business. If you know the guy who owns, the bar down the street, the local, marketing agency, if it's like you want to go talk to somebody, whether, the restaurant where you feel that connection, because at the end of the day, they're people too, just like all of us.
And that in that interview, we also want them to use that as content for their website, their social media, or whatever. Anyone that comes on our show can take that segment and that content and use that and add value to anything that they're doing. Mary Bird Perkins does it, I think, best and consistently, because we're on their website for their community page.
But they've been with us so long.
That's
too.
Right.
But I think back to what you were saying with the business connections. People do businesses with people they like.
Right.
If I go to a restaurant and that waitress greets me and she knows what I have to drink and what I have to eat 90% of the time, and sometimes I flip it on them, I love that. It's just that sense of community and connection that folks enjoy.
I've got a little spot I'll bump into. Me and the wife and some friends, we used to go almost every other weekend. And all we would have to do is just walk in and you'd see, the bartender like, hey, coming right up, I'll have you on a second. It's like, that's why that little bit of, information, that little exchange is like, yeah, that's why we come here. It's makes a world of a difference. And jumping back to what you said, we've done the same thing. It's told people content is king right now, and be able to get that message out and be able to do things with video. And it's so hard for most businesses because they have their business to work on. but it's like, look, you got to put in a little bit of time, take some of these clips, drop it into a 30-second piece, and then just sprinkle it out over the next, 4 months, and then come back and do it again. But it's hard for people sometimes because they're head down, into the business, and especially nowadays. I think it's so many businesses are just trying to. I was talking with some people this morning, and we were saying, we're just hadn't had a chance to do budgeting for next year. How are you gonna? It's like, I don't even know how to do budget. We forgot about it. It's like we're just looking at this small window of time, and that's where I think a lot of people are, and a lot of people need help, along the way. And if we can get the message out there, I think that's part of what our job is when we have a community and an audience that we can reach. So
a lot of people aren't that tech savvy, so if you can get them something already done, that's less that they have to go out and try to figure out how to do. And I know at the beginning of COVID, I found myself watching lots of educational, because we were so shut down,
right.
Then lots of educational things on how to put things out and do Facebook advertising and do all those things and edit videos and those check-ins, which is something that I really hadn't, done before. And a lot of times people, they just don't have time to figure that out. So if you can help get that message out and give them a piece that they can share, it's
beneficial. And the other thing is that Kay and I both love to connect with people. So we might not have what they need, but we know somebody that has what they need. So we like to be that conduit that connects people to what they really, really need. And sometimes people want to really promote their business. They just don't know how, and they feel a little shy about asking. But if somebody wants to say, hey, would you help me by hosting an interview with me? And we could do it on the show or not on the show. We're happy to do that. We can give them some ways that they can reach their public, their audience, build their tribe. And it just kind of comes naturally to us, to be honest, because Kay's done that. I've done that. And we just find joy in it. I mean, for us, it is just the passion of connecting people for whatever they need.
I've told people, and I've believed it my whole life, and I've told everyone, especially just this year with what we've gone through. One of my favorite quotes is Zig Ziglar, that says, you can have anything you want in life as long as you help enough other people get what they want first, and I find that so true. People, you don't have to go spend huge monies on marketing campaigns. Yes, people do it. That's, I'm in that line of business, but I'd be the first one to tell you, it's not for everybody. Does it help? Absolutely. But sometimes you got to start out with jump on some podcast, do your own podcast, put your own message out there, start talking to people, go see who you can help, go see, if you're, a brand new restaurant, make some food and go give it to people, go bring it to businesses and show them, it frustrates me, and I'm probably pissed some people off, but a lot of times because I've been in the tech space as well for so many years, I get so many people will bring me their pitch deck, of what they're trying to do, and they're trying to raise money. And I'm like, well, where are you with the business? And they're like, well, we're raising money. I'm like, well, no, where's the business at? And they're like, right. Well, we're raising money. I made this PowerPoint, and that's why I'm here. And I'm like, so you don't have a business. You haven't. And they're asking for $5 million, and it's like, are you?
They need their first client. They need their first.
I love it. It's like it's pre-revenue is like an okay, expression now. They're like, we're pre-revenue. It's like you need some blood, sweat, and tears in this thing, man. You need to really work it. So, I get a little personally frustrated when that happens. So,
well, one of the things, some advice that I would give, and that I would think is true, is that people might not remember every single word you said. They might not remember everything you did, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And I think in this time that we've gone through so much, and here we are at Thanksgiving, for all the losses and the things that have happened to people, and there are people that have lost far more than they would have ever thought. For those that didn't lose, it really does help to lift up those that did. And there's no real price to it other than, I mean, of course, give, financially if you can, but just to lift someone up and tell him, I believe in you. I believe in your strength. I believe in your power to overcome this. I know you're going to make the right decision. Sometimes the most important things that we can give another human being is that we believe in their ability to overcome, and we have confidence in them, and we can encourage them. And this year, I think people need that more than anything.
For sure.
More than anything. I think they do.
I think you're 100% on. I think I've also told people, I've always been told, in businesses, and I believe it, and I think everybody here would agree, it's lonely at the top. It's very hard, and it's hard to look, from the outside, and think that other people have it together. And I think it's just people need, there's this community. They need to, kind of reach out, and not be afraid, to say, I'm struggling. I need help. Everybody tries to put up this, facade, or as I say on their social media, their highlight reel that like, we're killing it. And it's like, okay, don't go out and say you're not killing it. But when you're talking to somebody, well, just be honest. Like, hey, I could really use some business, or this is what I need, and it's amazing how many times I've told people, if you sit there and you go, and you're with your peers or you're with somebody, and you just, we're crushing it, we're doing well, you're trying to make it right, people think you're fine. But if you would just sit there and go, man, I'm just I need 2 more accounts, I'm trying to get into, this business or that business, or I wish I knew this person. It's like, you'd be amazed, just by asking or telling somebody what you need. Like, do you know so-and-so? I'd love to get, yeah, I can do a meeting with them. We can help you with that. But too many times we let our pride get in the way and we won't ask for help. And it's like, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Well, the true fact is, we put our pride aside. None of us have it all together 24/7. Most of the time we're lucky to have it together, an hour a day or a week. But one of the things, Partners One, I think you might be affiliated and are affiliated with Partners One.
Yep.
Okay, so Partners One is our studio sponsor. And so they actively push people to share, what do you need and what do you have? And I think that's true for people in or outside of the business community. It's so easy for us to go, oh, henny penny, the sky's falling, it's never coming back, it's going to be terrible. The people that make it are the entrepreneurs that go, okay, like in the flood, okay, people aren't buying jewelry, but they are buying floor drying machines. Let me take my resources, go find some floor drying machines or carpet drying, and then you pivot. And that's really for 2020 going into 2021. We all have to pivot and say, where are the opportunities? How do we do that? Or how do we partner with somebody? And really that kind of brings us to the question about what would be, your advice. We were looking at some of the questions and we talked about, what would be the advice that we would give people that are just starting out or have an idea. And my advice is, don't wait. Find people that see your vision, that support your vision, that have the resources or have something that you might need. Jump in with both feet. Do it now, because you're going to be planting seeds now to reap and to harvest in a year or 2 or 5. But this might be the time where you're being led to go in a different direction than you have before. And wealth might,
it's never a good time. It'll never be the good time. I tell people, the 2 quotes I've told, I've always told people, find something you love to do and show up. That's what you got to do. And then don't expect it to be easy.
Right.
To me, like I said, I fly airplanes. It's a passion of mine, but it's, entrepreneurship is like jumping off the cliff and putting the plane together on the way down. You've got to figure it out. It's not going to be easy. You've got to just go. And I remember when I started one of my first companies, like no budget for marketing. I knew who I needed to get in touch with. So like I went and scraped together, bought, 1,000 business cards and went to the mall and went to every store where they sold expensive pants and suits and put a business card in every pocket. Like somebody was like,
great idea.
Going to go like, oh, I've got the CEO's card by accident. You didn't realize every pair of pants had that in there, but it was like, did it work? I don't know.
Best idea I've ever heard.
So you can't be afraid, to fail on some of these things. And I think if people will just get out of their shell, ask for what they need, some help with, I think we can all help. And yes, we work, real well, with Partners One, Moxie, they've helped a lot of businesses out, I think this time. And then it's because it's a network. You want to know, oh, I got a guy. You want to do some marketing? I got somebody. You want to come jump on, the show? I've got somebody. It's paid off. So this has been, you guys, we said 5-6 years. So you guys are the pros.
Yeah, we've done like
at this
100 shows. We've had over 700 guests. We usually have 3 to 4 guests per show, and we've met some incredible people. And we're not done yet. We've got we're planning into January and February our guests now, and we.
Well, it's nice to get to know people more when you connect through that interview and with the show, because I might see somebody and they just look interesting, or their business looks interesting. Like our guy who does the boozy ice cream.
Spiked Scoops.
I just came across his stuff on Facebook and I go, wow, that sounds really interesting. I hit him up on Facebook. He answered me right back. He came on the show, really great guy, entrepreneur, and to learn his story, and then having connected him with some other places to where that were doing events to use his product and stuff. It's been really great, and you do kind of feel like you get to know that person, and
then they stay in touch with you.
Yeah.
They'll say, hey, you're not going to believe I got this deal, or you're not going to believe, or somebody saw me, and that just makes us feel great. We want people to succeed, and we don't really sell a product. So our show does not really have a product other than reaching people and connecting people, but it's not like we have a hard product to sell. So for us, it's just been helping other people sell their product or service, and
creating awareness.
Creating awareness.
Like you said, you might be in your bubble. You only go to this little neighborhood. That's been your hot spot and stuff. But there's so much more out there that maybe you didn't know about. And that's what we want to highlight.
Yeah. And not only that, we really have been blessed by the people that have come on the show. I
Absolutely.
mean, we have really just kind of built a network and community of people that, they're our people. We're happy about them, and they can be other people's too. It's not a possessive thing. It's just we got to be part of their story. They got to be part of our story, and the story's ongoing. And so it's just kind of beautiful. And then the fact that we're on Cox and Uverse and radio, and now have our own YouTube channel.
We're just trying to expand ways to get the word out for everyone.
Yes. And so it's been fun.
You said in my opinion, your product is your audience.
Yes.
That's the product, at the end of the day. And so, growing that and helping, that, and it's connecting with people. I talked to somebody the other day and I was like, oh, do you know so-and-so? And they were like, yeah, I know them. I'm connected with them on LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, no. Do you know them? Like, have you talked to them? It's a little harder nowadays. But I'm like, have you had coffee, with them? How many, my definition of, do you know somebody is if I go to a restaurant and I see them sitting at the bar or sitting at a restaurant, or sitting at a table, can I just walk up and tap them on the shoulder and start talking? If I don't know you that well, I don't feel that I know you, to where if I'd be like inviting, and I think, too many times, sometimes people get caught up in this social world, and it's like, well, let me connect with them on LinkedIn and let me send them a message and let me do. It's like, you need to go talk to somebody, even if it's on Zoom. Pick up the phone.
Our phone numbers are on our Facebook page for Rocket Right Radio, and I guess we're a little old-fashioned. If you need something we have, or you think that you do, call us. You can call us, you can text us. I mean, that's the thing is that a lot of people, I think, have a hesitancy that they're going to get rejected for whatever it is they're trying to achieve or do. And they think social media means you have a personal connection. We've got tons of followers. We don't know everybody that follows us, so they couldn't assume that they had a connection. But I think good old-fashioned phone call, and as you said, coffee, sit down, have a conversation, how can we help each other, is certainly the best approach. Mm-hmm. You can't go wrong with that approach, because you'll know pretty quick, is it going to work or not?
I think I think there's rarely ever been a time that I don't think it's ever happened on this show, probably the same as y'all's, that I've never done a show and something didn't come out of it. Like
Right.
either a connection or, you know what, hey, I need to file that back in my memory, you know, because I know this is going to come up one day and this person can help, or I know they would be able to help me do something here. Or even, you know, every time, you know, it's very rarely to go have lunch with somebody or to go, you know, talk with somebody to just, we're all connected. We have the same basic things. And then again, if you can just help somebody else, even if you don't get anything back, go help them out. You know, they owe you one. You know, they'll look for, you know, just they'll look for a way to help you. You know, and I think we all, there's enough business out there for everybody. You know, there's enough business for us all to succeed. It's yes, we're all competitive, you know, landscape, but at the same time, there's plenty of, you know, there's big enough pie for all of us. So
You know what? I think that a lot of people take for granted the, I would say, the power of busy blondes. You know, we bill our show tongue in cheek, joke about it. We're two busy blondes on the go, the GEAUX. We're on the go showing off life in Louisiana. And that's really what we do. We just have fun doing it. There's not any business that's really so deadly serious that they can't just kind of laugh, make some humor, put humor into their messaging, because people will remember it more. And so we encourage people to just share the funny side of what you are and who you are, share the
humanize yourself. You know, it's, you know, anybody who knows me, you know, there's, if you see me with a tie on, you know, a suit or a tie, I was either at a funeral or at the bank, you know, that's it. You know, I'm not that guy, and I wear jeans every day, and that's just, it's not normal. Some people, you know, like, oh, you need to kick it up a notch. And I'm like, but that's me. That's just who I am. And I got to be true to myself, you know, but also you don't want me uncomfortable sitting there in a suit, and I'm going to do this just as good of a job for you as anybody else. And I think sometimes people get to a level, or if you're trying to start a new business, it's like, well, I don't look the part, or I don't, you know, have the, you know, right way. I remember starting my first company, same kind of story. Like I literally would park like 3 blocks away and walk to someone's office because I didn't want them to see the car I had. You know, I just didn't want to do it. But guess what? I didn't complain about it. I didn't wait to start the business, you know, got it off the ground. I just had to walk a couple blocks, you know, before each appointment. So,
well, and you know, sometimes folks like that little difference, because even in my medical practice, my patients love the fact that I wore cowboy boots a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I didn't wear my white coat. It was not like going to the doctors.
Right.
Most of them would say it was like coming to see a friend once a year.
Yeah.
And you know, getting some help, but sharing what's going on with your family and all that stuff. And I've always liked that really personal approach and being a little bit different. You don't have to like look the mold.
You don't have to assimilate, right? You know, right. Put the suit.
Right. Now, what would we be conforming to if we were to conform? You know,
I don't know. The safe, you know, just
on my head,
we'll talk about, you know.
Well, you know, the one thing about Kay's cowboy boots, she has quite the collection of boots and cowboy hat and, you know, longer coat and different things like that. You know, her persona and her, the image that she projects is very approachable, very friendly, things like that. When you're hearing good or bad news and you're at the doctor, or good or bad information that may or may not be a life-altering situation, it kind of helps that somebody wants to be that, you know, approachable and kind and welcoming. And so I think that makes a huge difference in the way that people
And now that I'm retired, oh my goodness, no telling where out the box I'm going to be with my attire.
Oh, so it sounds like you guys are probably just as busy as I am, it seems like, and trying to keep and just run and share the message, you know, spread the good news to as many people as we can. And, you know, I could do this all day. I joke about that. I wanted somebody originally to take this over, but I think I've gotten kind of fond of it. So like you said, it's meeting people, it's talking, it's just finding, you know, something always comes out of it. And I've encouraged people to do it themselves. You know, if you've got a business and you don't have a way to, you know, get your message out, well, you got to put it out. You know, I tell people all the time, you have to control your own narrative and you have to write your own press. You know, and if you don't do that, nobody's going to do it for you.
And who knows it better than you? You know, that's what I always tell people. Who knows it better than you? If I give it over to somebody else, they don't necessarily know what message I'm trying to get out. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Be clear about
yeah.
what it is you're offering and how you're offering it. Just be clear on what you think is most attractive. It'll attract people if you put it out there. It'll attract people. But everybody buys from who they like. Everybody buys from who they like. And so by you doing the podcast, more people get to know you, more people like you. So you never
Well, I don't know about that.
But you'll be
I might be hurting myself at that point. So,
so, well, we will have to have coffee soon.
Yes, let's do have coffee soon.
yes, we'll add that into the books and another one of those that something else comes out of it. This has been, I'm super glad we all got connected here. We can get this information out. Hopefully somebody maybe got a little encouraged and says, you know what the hell, I'm going to do it. You've got to just walk up to the cliff and jump, and worst case scenario, turn around and go back to doing what you were doing. It's not the end of the world, and
sometimes people just need to speak it out loud, what they're really looking for, what their passion is, what they want to do as they're trying to go through it. And I just think that it's important for them to have those people around that know a little bit, even if they don't. Sometimes it's almost better to talk to a stranger or somebody you think you know just a little bit and say it out loud to just galvanize what it is that you want to do about where you're going. It's harder sometimes to say it to close family and friends. It's sometimes easier to say it to somebody like you or like us or somebody else that it just is looking at it as a completely clean slate and here's only what you're saying and what you want to do. And then say, well, I think you could do it. And here's how I think you could do it.
that reminds me of, in aviation, we have a saying that any landing that you can walk away from is a good landing, but any landing that you can use the plane again on is a great one, so so it's it doesn't have to be perfect, just get out and try. And if I could tell anybody, that's where I'll, kind of bring us to around, is, kind of what's some advice from you guys. But if I could tell anybody, it's anybody who looks like not anybody, most of the people that I believe personally that look like they have it together, they probably do, but they also have some struggles. They've also got some things that they're worried about. And frankly, right now, everybody during this whole situation, no, I don't think there's anybody who's just unless you're the guy making the mask, or something like that, or the PPE, most people just, you don't know what tomorrow's going to be, but you know what? In 5 years, it's going to be the same way. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So you just got to try, but don't feel like, I'd invite anybody. I'll go sit with anybody if they just want to, pick my brain. How is it? What is this, story? What are you worried about? I'll tell you. Here's what I'm worried about. Here's the things, and guess what? We're all in the same boat. But if you try to where you align the stars, Dr. Sewell, you could probably say it. There's never a perfect time to get pregnant, right? It's just.
And women try to pick that perfect time all the time. I always have to say, you just have to decide that it's right for you, and the time will pick it.
Yeah.
So, well, awesome. Well, any parting words for anybody? We got any?
Well, we would love for folks to tune into our show, and our website is rocketright.com, and they can find the link to our Facebook page and our YouTube channel, and we'd love for them to catch us on the big screen TV too, or listen to Talk 107.3 on the weekends.
Or KWLA at 6 a.m. on Mondays.
Yeah, if they're up. I'm not, but for those early birds out there, we got something for everybody, late birds and early birds.
There we go. Well, we'll put some links to that for everybody to find it here, and show notes. And I appreciate you guys. You guys, like I said, you guys are the pros. We're just playing around over here. So
have a good
appreciate
time.
You taking some time to come slum it with us over here.
Hey,
so
we love it. It started out as a play day.
It did.
We're just trying to grow our play day.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, I think you guys have done a phenomenal job, and keep it going. That's all I can say.
Much. We appreciate you having us.
And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Yes, we're there. I think I told somebody before, I'm going to drop in, get a plate tomorrow, and then get back to work. So
and then we got to say Merry Christmas too, because we're doing that before Thanksgiving now, right? Huh?
It seems like it. It seems like it.
Got to get the bright lights. It makes us less depressed.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
get those
so.
Christmas lights going on. It's gonna cheer everybody up. So.
Well, didn't they do Christmas like earlier this year in the middle of the lockdown? Everybody started bringing Christmas out. So it's like we're really doing Christmas like twice, three times. Who knows? I don't know. Wait, whatever makes everybody feel good.
That's right.
Right at the end of the day, if that helps, it helps. So.
Well, ultimately, I think that God's in control of everything. It's just how we react to it. So if we can just try to keep our head up, keep our faith strong, we're going to be fine.
I wrote an article in the December issue of Parents and talked about, that I kind of overall, it's been, it's been a rough year, but there's been a lot of good things, that have still come out. It just depends on where you're going to focus, I believe your energy, if you look at some of the things, I think every teacher now is more respected than they ever were,
It's about time. Teachers should have always been respected like professional athletes on a big contract.
Well, yeah, there was no way I did one day of trying to do homework and said never again. So.
We're not all as smart as we think we are we?
No, they were sending Latin homework home at my house, and I was like, I don't even have English down, and you expect me to do Latin? We're not even going to try. So, well, look, I know you guys have got more important people to talk to than me. I appreciate you taking some time, jumping on here. We'll have to do it again. I enjoyed it. It's more fun than most of my tasks for the day. So,
all right.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Talk to y'all soon.
Okay, bye.